Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Summary. I am your host, Kyle. With me, as always, is Steve. Lots to get into today, guys. We got big match against Accrington Stanley that Liverpool demolished 4-0. We'll talk a little bit about that. Mainly talking about the transfer rumors that are swirling around the club today. Harvey Elliott's name has been mentioned. All right, we even got Chiesa's name being mentioned and some incoming transfer rumors as well. We'll touch on all of that. Maybe even the debate that Jaden Danz is better than Darwin Nunez. Hold that thought. Hold that thought, guys. And of course, just talking more about the youth players. Steve, how are you doing this morning, my man?
I am trying to get my mic plugged back in,
Yeah, it sounds a little weird now.
so bear with me.
I always think back to the days when I recorded without a mic, just using the computer audio. And every once in a while, I'll go back and watch those videos, and I can't make it through 30 seconds. It's so cringe. Is it plugged in?
It is, but
Uh-oh.
it's not getting recognized.
Not good. You might have to exit back, or I might have to remove you and come back in. I'll say good morning to everyone in the chat. Good morning, RDO, Supreme Architect, Yo Cool, Mom. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Make sure you slap that like button, guys, while Steven figures out his audio here. So what happened? You just unplugged it and turned it off? Or what?
I don't know, dude.
There we go.
Oh, God, so much better.
I'm back.
You're back. What's going on, Liz? Good morning. So, Steve, man, the game yesterday, we'll kind of jump into that. Well, let's start midweek, right? The Tottenham match. Okay. What happened? What happened?
I actually didn't get a chance to watch that match in real time. I did see the highlights and watched some of it back via replay. I think it's just a little dip in form that hopefully we can get out of.
That's
And
all I think it is, too. Yeah,
that should have been a red. Should have been a second yellow and a red. I think that's clear.
absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, look, they got to come back to Anfield and essentially have to beat us again. I guess, or draw, and they could get through if they draw. But I don't think we should have a problem.
There's two legs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
Second leg is home. We have to win by 2.
Yeah,
I
so that
think.
makes me feel a little bit better. A lot of people want to see the Newcastle Tottenham final. And that would just be unbelievable for the neutral fan, just considering both teams haven't won a trophy in X amount of years. But obviously we should still come back and win that game. But that was my only thought on it. It's just like, look, not a big deal. 2 legs, not going to sweat it. But going into the match yesterday, right? Accrington, I have a hard time saying that name, Stanley. It is more so of a romantic game in the sense that there was that guy who played for Accrington. I can't say it, dude. Stanley. I'm just going to say Stanley. The guy who played for Stanley that grew up a Liverpool fan. Maybe he even played for the academy. And he was like, this is the second best thing. And then, playing at Anfield, not for Liverpool, but in the FA Cup for Stanley. And there was even the announcers talking about the commercial that in the 80s where it's like 2 kids are drinking milk. It's like one kid, if you drink your milk, you'll grow up big and strong and play for Liverpool. The other, if you don't, you're going to play for Accrington Stanley or something like that, which is good marketing. And we beat them 4-0, rightly so. But good football all around. And the fact that, you had Endo starting at center back. You had a lot of youth guys playing. But this is a game where you expect the players such as Darwin Nunez to really step up and just dominate. I don't think that happened, Steve. You're muted.
I don't think that happened either. And also credit to Accrington Stanley because they did create some solid chances. They hit the bar. We look a little bit vulnerable. We got to clean that up. We have to clean that up. Mind you, it wasn't our first team. It wasn't
Fair.
our best 11 that was out there, right? There was no Virgil, no Kanate, no Allison, etc. So But yeah, you should win that game comfortably, and we did. But you're right. So there's two thoughts that I have after yesterday's match. One is, although the opponent was of much lesser quality, when Trent has time and space, there's no one better in the world at delivering the ball, at distributing the ball. He looked like he was head and shoulders better than everybody else on the pitch at times yesterday, which is good to see, especially coming off the heels of that United performance. And then as far as Darwin is concerned, he's got, I think he played okay.
I
You gotta find a way. You got to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net, man. Like, at this rate, at this point, I don't even know if he would win the Golden Boot in League Two. Like, and then Dan's comes on, slots one home. Like,
no, and it's not even the finish for me, right? It's the build up to that goal. Dan's just looks confident, man. He picked that ball up nearly at midfield, dribbles around a guy, lays it off perfectly to, I don't even know who took, was it Chiesa or Elliott who took that shot, and the rebound comes back and he just finishes. It was calm, cool, and collected. And that's Jaden Dance. How old is this kid? He's a teenager still, right? Maybe 20 years old. Not exactly sure.
yeah.
But the fact is, Darwin, he just has this chip on his shoulder. And there was someone who said it. I don't know if it was Joyce or Carragher, but said they're starting to believe that Darwin just doesn't look like a Liverpool player. And it's hard for us as fans to accept that fact when you have that 85 million price tag or 68 million price tag with add-ons, whatever you want to say. It is very difficult to justify his performance with that price tag. And I think all of us want him to succeed. We see the effort he puts in. But at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters when you play striker is scoring. It's really the only thing you're judged on, right? You can do all these other things. You can be a great presser. You can hold the ball up well. But if you're not scoring, it's kind of like being a defender and you're just constantly getting beat. Or, a goalie. You're constantly being beat, good distribution, whatever, and you're just letting in 4 goals a match. It's really what it comes down to.
That's a good comparison.
Before
if you play another position and you can't do your job, your main
Right.
job, you don't play. Now, that said, I don't want to keep saying this, but like in his defense, he does things that other players don't do. That's the pressing, the energy, the runs, the timing. He just needs to finish. And it's nothing like, I don't even know if it's something that can be worked on in the training ground to the point where he knows how to finish. He needs a little bit of luck, and he needs to just have a little bit more confidence, and I think things will turn. Is he good enough for us? If we didn't have Salah, I would say, first of all, I think he'd have more goals, number one. But it would also be an element of we're not scoring enough goals. We're not where we are in the table for Champions League, Premier League. It would be a much bigger problem. But because we're still successful and we're still winning lots of matches and having a great season, it doesn't matter as much. Now, could he be sold? Yes. Do a lot of people want him to be sold? Yes. But at the end of the day, he's lacking confidence right now. You can see it when he gets the ball at his feet, when he's in traffic, the ball just kind of gets trapped in his feet. He doesn't really know what to do.
Yeah,
he's not decisive. But when he gets a chance to shoot, he rips it. So I don't know.
Now look, let's before I get into that, I just want to go back and say thank you to Liz because we put it up here, but I didn't say thank you. Thank you for the super chat, Liz. Mike Money, we sucked against Tottenham, but shit happens. Yeah. 2 legs. I'm not sweating it. So thank you, Liz, very much. And shout out to Oyvind as well, who joined a little bit late, but we can't say that because we're always late too. Now, let's not take away from the fact that Darwin had a beautiful assist, right? Nice little assist to Jota. Okay. You see things like that, or you see these moments of brilliance like Newcastle last season. He has it. He has it in his locker, right? But how many times do you see this across all sports, Steve, where a player who has the talent, who has the ability, right, can't put it together consistently, right? Or gets to a certain level of competition like the Premier League and just doesn't fit with that level of competition, whether it's the physicality, the speed, the quality of the opposition, right? But they are good enough, right? They have the skill, but there's just different tiers, man. There's different tiers of player. You have a Salah, where a Salah is just so consistent. He's going to give you every single season at least 15 goals, at least 10 assists, right? And he just does it consistently and seems to get better with age. And then you have Darwin, right? Darwin, a player you paid so much money for. You paid for the potential, you paid for the youth, and he comes to the league and he has not broken through yet, man. He has not shown that potential. It happens. I just feel like it happens a lot, and I think it's more of a mental than a physical thing because we see that potential, we see the skill.
Looking up his stats.
Let's go over to the chat here. So, yeah, I mean, he's 16. Give him 2 years to pick up more football, get more physically, and he's got potential to be ridiculous. I think he's talking about Ngoma, or I can't even say his name, but he looked really good. Supreme Architect says Nunez doesn't have the IQ. The IQ might be an actually good take because that might be what it comes down to.
He's got
Right,
4 goals and 4 assists.
How many comps?
Comps?
Or like in all competitions, or
Oh, yeah.
so how
Yep.
many?
4 and 4.
No. I mean, how many matches?
Oh,
Like this season altogether?
26.
Yeah, 26, 4 and 4.
It's not great.
And I can't even remember the goals he scored, dude.
I know.
Can't even remember the
Well,
goals.
one
he
was
scored.
that left-footed curler. That was
Oh
nasty.
yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, I feel like he's. Yeah, we can go on and on all about that, but let's go to Ardio. Dan should be on the bench before Nunez for sure. Darwin comes on and throws his weight around, does nothing useful. He's got to go, in my opinion. Oyvind thinks he's a bad buy, I believe. I think, yeah, bad buy. I think he's referring. It's not that hard, honestly. Bad buy. Oh, here he goes. Nunez does not have the IQ or ability to score tap-ins. What can he do? That's really the topic of conversation. The dude doesn't score tap-ins, or not even tap-ins, but he had a chance yesterday. Ball came back out to him off a deflection, and he just skies it over the bar. And you got to tuck that away, bro. You're inside the 18-yard area. How are you not burying that? Like, you dream about those chances as a striker. You don't want to have to pick the ball up at midfield and dribble past people. You want to get the ball in the 18-yard area and just one-time it. Like, that's your dream, right? You don't have to do any work, and you get the goal. And he just can't put it away. $20
Beth says, help me
super
wish
chat.
Stephen a happy birthday coming up later this week. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday, Steve.
Coming up, I'll be 20.
That's right. You think.
Thank you so much.
Gosh.
20 years old. Still in my prime. Still yet to get into my prime, Kyle.
Oh, that's right.
I'm still working on diving headers in the living room.
Yeah.
I'm still working on my paddle performance. Rowing. Nothing's changed. But thank you very much. Thank you.
Nothing's changed. You're just a little bit uglier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Happy 20th. Happy birthday.
Love it.
Thanks, guys.
It's the 18th, right?
It is.
18th. Nice. How old are you going to be? 34. 33. God.
I have a question for the chat. How old do I look?
30?
For the chat.
35?
Because the answers that I get about this blow my mind. So I would like to know what you guys think.
You might have one of those faces where it's just hard to determine.
Mm,
You know?
okay.
Yeah.
Yogesh
Yogesh,
says
35.
35. All right, that's fair. Yo
Yo
Cool says
Cool.
82. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oyvind,
maybe.
18.
You look 18.
I don't know what that is. This
Liz,
says 28.
28.
I think that's fair.
28. I would guess around 30.
Not a day over fabulous, even better.
Oh, Steve, you're fabulous. Did you hear that?
My plumber, the plumber that did the work on my house recently, Shane says 29. Yeah, I would agree with this. Said that I look 45. And I was like, wait, really? I have no gray hair. Maybe I was a little scruffy. Maybe the beard wasn't lined up or something, but
It depends. I honestly think it depends very heavily on what you're wearing, and because things can make you look older, right? Like I told a patient the other day how old I was, like because how old does everyone in the chat think I am? Number one,
yeah.
but I said how old I was, and they were blown away, and it's like, what? 39? Jesus.
The hat
Yogesh said,
and not hair adds some years. Okay. That's fair.
Yogesh says 34.
I have hair, by the way. A full head of hair.
Yeah, you do have hair. Thank God.
It's a mess, but
Shayna says 26. So I look younger than Steve. 26. 26. Okay, so that's good.
26.
I like it. So I'm 29. So I'm coming up on the big 3-0. 73. Okay.
73, I think.
Yeah. That's you
Spencer
typing that,
says-
right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Because I've been hacked before. I don't know. A lot of people might not remember this. Like 3 years ago. No, it was longer than that. 4 years ago. Someone duplicated my the Nothing But Reds avatar and like made Nothing But Reds their YouTube account name, and they were like spamming the account, so it looked like we were commenting on our own account, but it was just like ridiculous stuff. And
It
every
was
time
probably
I
Michael
banned,
Ramsey or
oh,
Irvin.
you think it must have been? I didn't even think about that, man. No, but it was crazy. It was like I had to delete it, and I was blocking them. I blocked like probably 20 accounts, Nothing But Reds. And I couldn't figure out like how are they making it the same thing over and over again. And oh God, that was nuts, man. That was an absolute crazy time. But let's get back to the issue at hand here. So with January comes transfer rumors, right? The big one that we're seeing in terms of incoming is the guy from Napoli. I'm going to do you guys a solid and not try to pronounce his name. Carrie Kershivella. All right. We're going to call him that.
Let's just call him Ricky. Let's just call him Ricky.
Let's call him Ricky. Sounds good.
Okay. Ricky from Napoli, who's actually going to go to PSG. Apparently, they've already agreed on personal terms, and his career is going to die now. Congratulations on making the wrong decision. Not that I wanted him here or that I think we were actually in for him.
I couldn't care less, honestly.
I think
I'm done with wingers. Steve, hold on. I'm done with buying wingers. Okay? We have bought every time we're linked with someone, it's an attacker or a winger. It's honestly a winger. We don't go after anyone else. It seems like
left winger, by the way.
Left winger. We're always, correct me if I'm wrong, guys. We're always going after wingers. And I see that link and I'm like, we don't need that. Right? Frankly, we don't really need anyone right now. You can argue maybe looking forward in the future to a new left back, right? With the links with Kimmich, which we can talk about as well.
He doesn't play left back, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, why am I thinking? Maybe I was thinking Alaba.
Well, depending on what where Trent does or goes, right back, I guess.
Just had a blonde
and a center back for sure. We need another center back. We still haven't filled Matip's role. Kwanzaa's great, but you need 4. We have 3.
Yeah.
Well, you need 4. We've always had 4.
We have 4, technically.
Who's the 4th?
Van Dijk, Konate, Gomez, Kwanzaa.
Oh, I forgot about Gomez. Yeah, I guess you're right. Well,
So,
2 of them are hurt. Isn't Konate hurt?
yeah, no, you're not wrong. I was letting you finish it. So, look, let's talk about the players that we're linked with, right? This guy's going to PSG. Ricky's going to PSG. You're right. Career's going to die. At this point, the only reason you go to PSG is the money. It's the only reason. All right. Isn't it crazy that you can tell everything you need to know about a player and the people he surrounds himself with by what he chooses to do with his career, what transfer he chooses, right? Like, let's take Zubamendi, for example. Okay. He said, he was going to come to Liverpool, but then he sat back, he thought about it. He's like, look, I should stay at Sociedad. I have so much respect for that, right? It might not be a decision I agree with, but you rarely see that nowadays where players, the loyalty is there, or, you could say maybe some people were in his ear saying, you probably shouldn't go. You should probably stay here. It might be whatever the reason was. But I was like, okay, I have respect for that. Anyone who makes the transfer to PSG, what are you doing? Like, in what world do you think that is even remotely good for your career, man? Tell me one player, Steve. One player that went to PSG and his career got better.
Maybe Ibrahimovic.
Maybe.
Ronaldinho went there, didn't he? I don't know if
Oh,
it got better at that point. I don't know when he went, but
I don't even know. So I'm thinking, like, look, Neymar.
Thiago Silva.
It's like, did your career get better though?
Well,
Like,
they became better players while they were there, and then excelled after. Not sure. I get what you mean. You're right.
Yeah.
But also, Kyle, domestically, based on domestic results, the top 5 leagues, Napoli's a top 5 team in the world. Okay, so it's not like he's leaving us some scrubs. They're in first place. In Serie A, they're in first place.
They won their first league title. I don't know if he was there for this one. It might have been the year before. I could be wrong, but the year they won the league title for the first time in 30 plus years or whatever, was he part of that team?
I don't know. But
I don't know if he was.
I mean, he just crashed onto the scene 2 years ago. But either way,
so
they're ahead of all of these good teams. They're ahead of Inter, who's nasty. They're ahead of Atalanta, who we know is good. Lazio, Juventus, Fiorentina. They're ahead of all of them. They're in first place. And you're going to go to PSG? It's for money. It's for money. That's the only reason is it's for money.
Yep.
Because I don't even think PSG has a better chance to win the Champions League than Napoli. So what are we doing?
No, but everyone knows that. They had Mbappe, they had Messi, and they had Neymar. What's the furthest they got in the Champions League? Did they go to the final? Or semi?
No, I think they maybe went to maybe a semi. Maybe.
Okay.
If that.
They have no European pedigree. None. They have no culture. It's all about money there. Okay, so if you want to go there for money, that's fine. That you have that choice, but it tells me everything I need to know about that transfer, right? We're linked with him because we're a top team in Europe. It's just gonna happen. All right. We were even linked with him back when he first came on the scene, when he was having a good first year at Napoli. We're like, oh, we're linked with this guy. Okay. We don't need another left winger, for the love of God. All right, we don't. So that's down the drain. Okay. But in terms of other incomings, Kimmich. What's your take on that, Steve?
I've said this in the past.
I know you love him.
I love him. I think because he can play multiple positions. He can play DM and right back. And he's played in big games and he's won big trophies.
Right back. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, he plays DM and right back. And like, you don't always have to go buy for the future. Like, Thiago was not a buy for the future. Thiago was a buy to win now, and we won trophies with him.
Yep.
So it's okay to bring in those players that are at the back end of their career for a little 2-3 year cameo. I mean, that's what Endo is at the end of the day. Endo is not of the same caliber, but he's towards the end of his career.
Sure.
And he was affordable. But if you can get Kimmich on a free, why not?
Right. It's the same. I think it's the same exact mindset you took with Chiesa.
But the problem is Kimmich demands a lot higher wages than these guys. So that's the difference.
But you're not paying the transfer fee, right? So
right,
at the end,
that's not how they look at it, and you know that.
when you say
Unfortunately,
they, who's they?
the club. We did the math last week, remember?
Yeah.
You can either renew Van Dijk and Salah at much higher wages, or you can go out and spend 80 million on each position to replace them, which is worse financially.
No. But I'm making the argument that they're more inclined to get Kimmich because they don't have to pay for a player of his quality. They can get him on a free, pay him whatever wages he wants. It'll probably be around 200K a week, right? That's nothing to them because they're saving money. They're going to have to pay that amount anyway, probably more when you combine the transfer fee with the wages of a player they would get at a similar quality, but younger.
Right. However, I think if you bring someone in externally and pay them more, that does change the wage structure. Because he's going to come in and make 100,000 more than like Robbo, much more than Allison. Like, think about it. These servants to the club that have been here for so long, that have the same pedigree as Kimmich, if not more. Because I wouldn't say Kimmich was ever the best player in his position in the world, but Robbo was, and Allison is. Trent, all these guys. If you bring in Kimmich and pay him $250 a week, other guys are going to want more. So there are implications to bringing him in, but at the end of the day, I don't like. Screw it, bring him in. I like him. I love him. He'd be a great buy.
31?
Probably like 30, 31.
31?
He'd be a great buy. He doesn't need to play every match. He's not better than Gravenberch. But if Trent goes, or if Trent picks up a knock, and he can fill in at right back.
But here's the thing. So a lot of people are saying he's around. Let's just take Yogesh. We'll say what you're saying is true. 375K a week. Once you get to a certain age, you're not going to demand and receive the same amount you're getting in your prime contract. Okay, that's why they probably haven't renewed his contract, because he's asking for more than they're willing to give him. Right? So at some point, he's going to have to cave. All right? You look at Thiago. Thiago came to us. We ended up paying him, I think it was, let's just say it was 200. I think it was 192 a week, but it came out to about 200. All right? That's about the going standard for that age range, unless you're a Salah, unless you're a Van Dijk, the best player in the world at your position, right? At that age. Kimmich, great player, but like you said, serviceable player. He might not play every game. So a player who might not play every game, you're not going to give him 250. Maybe you will. I don't know. I don't think he's worth. It's not. I don't think it's like that anymore.
Unfortunately, I think he'll end up at City. It makes too much sense. They've seen how their form dips without a DM if Rodri's hurt, and Kyle Walker wants out. So that's right back at DM. It makes too much sense. But we'll see what type of person Kimmich is if he goes to City with these charges looming and the oil money aura.
Who does that? Yeah. And they're still buying players. They just bought that Ukrainian or Russian player. I just saw, God, I can't remember his name, but it just doesn't make any sense, dude. So with those are really the only two names I'm seeing. I'm not sure if you're seeing any other names. Kimmich we'll keep an eye on that. But outgoings, man, I saw links earlier this week with Harvey Elliott and Dortmund and Brighton. Okay, two clubs who have great eyes for young talent. And Harvey Elliott, a player who we were talking about before we went live, not getting as much game time as probably he deserves. And even Klopp, all right? Klopp's quote saying, the only change I would have made last year is playing Harvey Elliott more. Harvey Elliott made I think this was last year, he featured in every Premier League game.
Something like that.
He might have been a sub, right? He might have started some games.
I think he had the most appearances.
That's probably what it was.
It was either last year or the year before.
Okay. There's no denying his talent, but in what world, Steve, or in what situation could you see Liverpool selling Harvey Elliott, who I believe his contract expires in 2027, currently on 40K a week? His next contract probably won't be his biggest contract, right? But it's definitely going to be a huge jump up. In what world do you think we sell him? Currently at 35 million pound valuation, and I'm seeing numbers as high as 60 for what we would sell him for.
I don't think he's going to be sold. He loves Liverpool. And I think he's okay with his role. And I think things can change. Like, Szoboszlai picks up a knock, Elliott's going to play more. Elliott gets into good form, he'll play more. The fixtures come thick and fast. You're going to see more of him. When it's really kind of just Premier League and just like high stakes Champions League matches, you're not going to see a ton of him necessarily. But in these cup games and when the fixtures come thick and fast, and as we know, players pick up injuries in the new year, he's going to play. I hope he doesn't go. I wouldn't be overly surprised if he's not in slots like top tier plans, but we'll see.
I feel Elliott is one of those players that he's good, but because of the position he plays and because of the quality that's required in this team to compete in the Premier League, sadly, he's just in this no man's land of he's way better than a youth player, right? He's good enough to start, but because of the quality of the people ahead of him, he's just a perennial super sub, it seems like, who plays in cup games and stuff. And that's a dangerous place to be in because, yes, you're getting playing time. Yes, you're young, right? Yes, you score, you get assists, but at some point, given your quality, you're going to want to start, right? And I'm sure he wants assurances from the team, even if you love the team, right? You love the sport too. And so at some point, he might want to play more. And you look at the developmental track record of a team like Brighton, or especially of a team like Dortmund, who definitely has their foot in the door of like English players who have gone there and like done well, or even American players. If you look at what's his face, I can't remember his name, dude. What the hell is his name? The dude who Pulisic, Jesus. That might be a tempting career path for Harvey Elliott. But I think Harvey Elliott ultimately will stay because he loves the club, like you said. And it's just a matter of when he will eventually get to start, if that ever is. Like you said, if there's an injury, but he's not playing ahead of Szoboszlai. You could argue in the 10 spot, Curtis Jones might be more fit. And on the right wing, he'll only play if Salah's not playing. So he might be looking at 2-3 years down the line before he even sniffs a starting position. Is that a tempting offer for him or a career path? I don't know, bro.
Well, that's the thing. It's all up to him because every team needs backup players, right? So it's not as simple as, well, you're not going to start because you're behind Szoboszlai and maybe Jones in the pecking order and Salah on the right wing. It's because every team needs players that will come in after the 60th minute or if there's an injury. So the question then becomes, if you sell Harvey Elliott, who do you get in? Who takes his place?
Mm.
Because he is a nailed-on person in the squad.
He is, yes.
So that becomes a question as well.
Look, if you get I think the answer lies in that hypothetical. If you get rid of Harvey Elliott, who is that guy who slots in as a depth piece for an attacking midfield position / right winger? Doak, right? But Doak, I mean, I don't have more confidence in Doak than I do Elliott right now. I mean, Doak's great, don't get me wrong. But
on the right wing, he's better. than
He's
Elliott.
better on the right wing. I feel like Elliott is a more creative playmaking type. Okay. But you're right. I think that's a huge depth piece that you lose. And who are you going to I don't know if it's worth it at this point. I think ultimately he's accepted because how old is he? 21? 22 maybe?
I don't know.
He can't be that old. He might be 20, 21. I'm wagering a guess that he's
21.
right. 21. Okay.
He'll be 22 in April.
Wow, yeah, he's that's crazy. So he is still very much early in his career. All right. I think after 2 or 3 years more, if he doesn't see a jump in his role at the club, then it becomes, all right, maybe we sell him or maybe he wants to move on. Remember, his contract's up in 2027. He's on $40K a week. I can guarantee you we offer him an extension, and that extension should be around $100K a week. That, in my mind, that should be what it's worth to keep him happy and keep him motivated to stay at the club, because that contract, let's say it'll bring him till he actually, I don't know. It's a tough age range to be at for a contract extension, because his next contract will be 5 years, Steve. So let's say it'll bring him till he's about 28, right? 28. Let's say 28. That's a difficult range to be in, because you're going halfway into your prime with that. You want prime player money. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
I don't know if we'd be having this conversation if he didn't have that broken foot or whatever he dealt with earlier this year. He's barely played this year. He's got like 10 appearances.
Yeah.
And we've played like 40 matches. So.
Ayler says the best sub for Szoboszlai is, in fact, McAllister, but he is forced to play alongside Gravenberch since we still haven't signed a number 6. Look, I think McAllister has always been suited for a double pivot more so than a holding midfielder, which is what he was forced to play last year. If Gravenberch was playing at the level last year that he's playing this season, we would have saw a different McAllister last year. But he wasn't. So it was either Endo or McAllister playing in that spot.
McAllister's excellent, by the way. Let me just say that.
He's so good.
He's so good and so consistent. We don't even talk about him. We only talk about the players that are like Salah, who's like unbelievable, and Van Dijk, or the players who have dips in form. That's all we talk about, right?
Right.
Trent, Szoboszlai, what are you guys doing?
And Chelsea.
And like injuries. Talk about injuries a lot.
Yeah.
We talk about who's going to start on the left wing, but we don't talk about McAllister because he's nailed on.
Yes.
He's just he's so good. We are very lucky to have him. I feel fortunate to have Alexis McAllister in this side.
That is a buy that goes under the radar, because you look at a player, $35 million for McAllister, and what you're getting for that. Look, people can criticize our strategy all they want about getting players in, but we have such an eye for gems, dude. It's remarkable. It's remarkable, but what we've been able to get for what we've paid. Robertson, McAllister, Gravenberch is really pulling his weight this season, right? I mean, it's remarkable. It really is. So I agree with your take there. So if you didn't know, McAllister played the Szoboszlai role in the Argentina national team, and they won the World Cup. So I would say McAllister fills that position nicely. Yeah, international play is a lot different, which is why we've always questioned Szoboszlai's productivity, because he plays a completely different role for Hungary. But yeah. Now, Chiesa, Steve, let's move on to Chiesa. Chiesa got his first goal with Liverpool yesterday. Beautiful, beautiful goal. And looked very, very, very good yesterday. What are your initial thoughts with Chiesa now that you're seeing him, and now that he's freaking healthy? It's been half a season, but this is what we should expect from him, right? He's a cup guy, maybe a sub in the Premier League, Champions League, but I didn't have I didn't think this guy was going to come in and push for a starting role. I want, when he does play, produce for me. That's all I expected.
I think he can. I think he can push for a starting role. I mean, not over Salah, let's be realistic, but you know what I mean. I think he can push for more game time, more substitute appearances, definitely in the cups. I think he'll get, depending on who we play, he can get some time in the Champions League as well. He would have started yesterday, but Slot said that he missed training the 2 days previously to illness, and everyone's getting sick. That's not his fault.
Right.
If he can just stay fit, I think he'll be solid. I think he loves being here. I don't think we're going to sell him. We just got him. We want to see what we have in him. Slot clearly wanted him, so we'll see what we have. But yeah, I thought he was great yesterday. I think it's good to get in and play a legitimate match against a little bit lesser quality, just to get your feet wet. And he brings something that we don't have, I think, because nobody's really seen what he does in this league, in this country. Nobody's really played against him. And I don't know if he's going right or left, if he's passing or shooting. He's pretty unpredictable, which I think is nice. He uses his weak foot, so should be interesting. He hit the post yesterday, too.
Reminds me of Jota, no?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
I think a lot of potential there with Chiesa. A lot of potential there. And I think we do need that depth. We need that cushion, right? Just in case we have one of our attackers go out. So I agree. I don't think it makes any sense for people to speculate that we're going to loan him out or sell him after we just got him, dude. He's been sick. He's been injured, right? There's no... In what world? I just feel like people like a lot of that one specifically, not so much the Elliott thing. The Elliott thing is there's justification to speculate on that, and even Darwin. But Chiesa, no, dude, he's just been out. He just hasn't been healthy. He's been sick. Just give him some time. You know, it's not always if someone's not featuring, you got to sell them. It's like that's not how it works.
That's what people love to do.
I know.
Sell. It's like, where are we? Like, is this a market or is this a football club? Like, are we a used car salesman or are we a football club?
They're treating it like it's a junkyard, bro.
Like, we're not selling any of these players. This is our team for the year. Maybe we'll bring someone in, but nobody's getting sold. I'd be very surprised if anyone gets sold. Anyone noteworthy.
Like, can you imagine?
Top of all the tables, none of these guys can get sold.
No. Can you imagine? It's like you wake up and you see Chiesa sold to, I don't know, Napoli for 15 million. Well, it doesn't make any sense. We just got him.
Mm-hmm.
Chiesa loaned to Napoli. What? Guys,
look,
it doesn't make
we
sense.
just got him, and like, there's a reason they wanted him.
Yeah.
And it's not like in the span of 4 months, their opinion has changed on him. He's been hurt. If they're not selling Darwin, they're not selling Chiesa.
Oh, yeah. That's
now a loan move is interesting because I guess you never know. Sure. And of course, we could be wrong. And somebody could get sold. But
I'll be honest,
we're the best team in the world. So
no, I am like 95% confident nobody is sold in January. Ever. It's like, unless it's like a youth player or something who's loaned out or maybe sold on. But no one in our senior squad is getting sold. Nobody. It doesn't make sense. If anyone's getting sold, it might be Darwin this summer, right? Maybe. I could see that. If he doesn't pick it up, there's a conversation that needs to be had. Now, maybe they keep him and keep the faith in him, okay? Because he is a depth piece. He adds all that other stuff, right? But it's a conversation that should be had. I saw that AC Milan were linked with Darwin, right? Thinking about bringing Darwin on. But that's not a conversation or a decision that you make mid-season when you're top of the table and winning everything in the Champions League so far. You make that decision in the summer. Makes no sense. Now, youth players shine in the match yesterday. The two players were Jaden Dans for me, and then help me pronounce the 16-year-old's name. Rio. Let's call him Rio. I love it. Absolutely love it.
He was pretty good. I mean, he didn't do a ton, but he looks shifty. He can dribble. He's young. He's quick. I think he's fearless. But for a first performance, I think that was pretty good.
At 16 years old, I think fearless is the best quality you can have, because you're obviously going to be nervous on the pitch. It's a test of your confidence, and I think that is so important. The fact that you have the trust in a 16-year-old to play in a match like that is huge. And we've all seen the little clips of him. Does he play for the U21s? What does he U18s? What does he play for? Regardless, he looks incredible. He looks like he has all the talent in the world. And we have a lot of good young players, dude. Trey Neone, Rio, Jaden Dans. For me, what you said, fearless. Jaden Dans looked more confident on the ball yesterday than Darwin. That's to me, that says something. Like, Darwin, where's your confidence, man? Just get this guy a sports psychologist. Sit him down and just have a mental breakthrough with this guy. Because I'm looking at 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds that have more confidence than you do. And look, I get it. I mean, if you're not comfortable with the language, you're 85 million price tag hanging over your head, seeing the media criticize your performances, it definitely gets to you. All right, but you're playing Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup. This is a game you're licking your chops to play. You're like, I'm going to go get a hat trick in this game. I just didn't see it.
I got nothing. He needs to do better.
The young players are very promising, dude.
How long are we going to wait, Kyle?
This is why I said
the assist was great. That was an excellent assist.
Sure.
Perfect. He did what he was supposed to do, but it's like, I feel like with Darwin, we've always been like, he could be a little bit better, or he's offsides too much, or whatever. He needs to finish. He hits the post too much. But there was always glimpses on the radar of greatness. But lately, the radar's just been completely flat. He hasn't done anything great that's made us go, oh, yeah, that's what he's got.
No life. No signs of life out there.
Yeah, it's he's flatlined.
He's flatlined. But then you look at Dan's. You look at Dan's yesterday. See just a little drop of the shoulder and a goal. And Liz says, Dan's impressed me. He's always impressed me, man. You see these little... When I see you play, I can see the quality. I can see the potential.
You're just a scorer. Like, I can see that you're going to score.
Yeah. You're going to get... I mean... I don't know. At what point, I think you said it, at what point do we just say because this is third season here, right? Third season, I think.
Yeah, okay.
All right. At what point do we just say, Darwin, look, it hasn't worked out, man? Stellar.
I don't know.
Stellar says Dan's needs to be our bench player, not Nunez. Oyvind says Dan's over Darwin. Darwizzy.
I think they should both be in there.
No, sure, right? But God, man, the fact that we're saying we're even having this conversation, Dan's over Darwin, says a lot.
I mean, it's just one game, dude. That's the thing. We jump to conclusions. You're not going to see Dan's over Darwin.
No, I know we're not, but he's given an opportunity and he scores. Whether you want to say it's a lucky goal or not, it's Spencer. It's just more of a patience thing.
I think this is a great point.
Yeah,
we're just running out of energy to stay positive about him. Patience.
Sure.
So
I think this is ultimately what it comes down to. Great point, Spence. It's you see a young player, and this is why we're talking about Dan's. You see a young player given one opportunity, right? He might get 2 or 3 a year in the normal season. That's not preseason. And you see him produce. You see him play with confidence. But then you have Darwin, who's given all these chances over multiple years, and he's just hasn't found it yet. So then you sit back, you cross your arms, you're kind of like, all right, well, then what are we waiting for? So I couldn't have said it better.
I mean, he had 11 goals and 8 assists last season in the league. Right? Okay. He hit the post a million times.
He set a record.
So he could have been 20 goals. Okay.
Could've.
But 11 and 8, put that up against the best seasons that some of these players have had, Kyle.
I know.
The Martinellis, the Gabriel Jesuses.
It's probably better.
Else?
It's probably better than most of them.
Riyad Mahrez. Some of these other attackers that can play in multiple places. And I mean,
look, I think I'll just finish it for you. Statistically, you look at it and you're like, it's not that bad. All right. 4 goals, 4 assists this season so far. He's on pace for 8 and 8, right? Which in theory would basically be the same as the 11 and 8. He might get a couple extra goals. But the problem lies in what you paid for him. That's it. That's the only other outlier, dude. If Darwin was a youth academy player, we would not be talking like this. It's what you paid for him. It's what you expect out of him. You expect him to become a world-class striker. And right now, he's just a serviceable sub.
I think last year he had 20 goals in all comps.
20?
I think so. He had 11 in the Premier League. He had 5 in the Europa League. That's 16. You got to imagine he had a few in the cups. You got to imagine he had
20?
a few in the cups.
That would blow my mind. Hold on. Can you back that up?
Well, I'm looking at 16 here, and I'm looking at 9 assists on this page.
I think that sounds more accurate. 16 and 9.
Okay. Then he had 1 goal in the EFL Cup last year.
17.
So that's 17 and 3 assists. So that's 17 and 12 last year.
Okay.
The only thing I don't see here is the FA Cup.
Okay, hold on a second. I got egg on my face right now because 17 and 12 is a really good return.
Yeah, no, we talked about this last year, how he could have had 30 goals if he didn't hit the post.
That's a really good return, Steve. 17 and 12.
Yeah, where is this?
And now he's in slot system, and he's not exactly thriving. Oh, man, there's so many
FA
factors
Cup.
at play here. There's so many factors at play. 17 and 12 is not bad. A lot of people here are saying that he just gets a lot of heat. He gets a lot of heat. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it because I'm feeding into it now. But we were talking about this last year. Statistically, his return was okay. It was probably better than a lot of the players in the league who were quote unquote better than him. Peter says he's part of a winning formula, right? And that's the definition of a team, right? This is kind of what we were talking about with Elliott earlier. What are you seeing, Steve? You're deep in thought.
18 goals, 13 assists last year.
That's a really good return.
So that's 31 goal involvements in 54 matches. A lot of which he did not start. So last season was fine, with the exception of hitting the post.
Right.
So
that's a really good point.
He had a goal involvement every 100 minutes or so. Once per game, you can call it.
Why did it? So that was last season. So far this season, he's 4-4 in all, right?
This season he is. By the way, Transfermarkt is the best place to look at all comps.
Of course.
Don't let me forget that. This season, it's 4-4.
In what, 20 appearances?
26, a lot of which are not starts. He's
And
played 1,378 minutes. He's got 8. So it's like a goal every 1.5 games.
yeah, that return's not as good as,
Or
as
an involvement.
last season, but
The problem is he's got more yellow cards than goals. He's got 6 yellow cards in all comps.
yeah, no, he's definitely got yellow cards. And I think we'll just close it out with this, man. This is what happens when you score worldies and flub tap-ins. I just feel like on paper you look at it and you're like, okay, that's not that bad. But then you watch him play. You see him missing 12-yard chances. You see him missing tap-ins. He hasn't hit the post as much this year. There's just a lot of question marks around Darwin Nunez, and it's not his effort. It's his production. It's ultimately
definitely not his effort.
It's definitely not
the way he presses. Nobody else is going to do that. I say just keep using him. Keep using him. He's not costing us losses. Keep using him. Things will change or they won't, and then you move on at some point. But nothing's going to happen here midseason. Let's just keep the ball rolling. Pun intended.
There you go. And I actually agree with that sentiment. I think hold on to him. Just keep playing him. Keep plugging him. Hopefully he catches fire, get some goals, get some confidence. That's all you can do because you're not selling him midseason. And like Peter here says, he's part of a winning formula. And I think right now this team is a well-oiled machine. The way we've been playing.
Ain't broke,
don't fix it. And he's always available, Steve. For the most part.
Best ability.
For the most part. You don't score, but you're available. You got a spot at Liverpool Football Club.
That's right. That's right.
So, Steve, thanks for being here. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to all our channel members. Appreciate you guys being here. Liz, thank you for the donations. You guys know you keep the channel going. And everyone who gives their input throughout the show. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Until next week, Reds. Take care.